Hi, today we have a controversial thing. No FAB, no Nut November, and everything in this sense about benefits, effects, side effects will tell scientifically. So, every statement there is confirmed with a study or obviously is a medical fact. On this channel we mainly analyze nootropics, those drugs or supplements that raise productivity, improve cognitive abilities, concentration and so on. I have analyzed a lot of information and you will be surprised that there are improvements in abstinence. In this context, just listen to the objective summary of effects. Let's go. First, the motivation will be better. There is a phenomenon that the reward or dopamine system of man has a lot to do with testosterone. More specifically, this is modulated using testosterone. The more testosterone you have, the more motivated it is. With a particularly interesting motivation of dopamine and different rays from testosterone. For example, you made something and for theirs $100. The money served in this case like a reward. This was the fourfold reward functioning of dopamine. Another example, you did something and got a blow. Consequently, one wants to achieve this even more than in the past. This is the effect of testosterone. This study reports a statistical increase in testosterone to 45% after 7-day abstinence, though no FAB for 7 days.
Responsible for the development of a number of male physical characteristics, including hair patterns on the head. It also determines beard growth, affects muscles, and a man's overall personality. It's a much more complex hormone than some people might think.
This moment can be explained very easily. In sexual experience, testosterone loves short term and needs to be restored. It is said that with abstinence, the testosterone value also becomes more stable. The second advantage is associated with dopamine. Sexual activity definitely leads to increased dopamine levels. This neurotransmitter has 5 receptor types and dry parts or dry systems in brain. In order not to make things more complicated, I will say that in one of 3 parts, the effects of constant pornography use resemble drug addiction. This fact does not have to surprise you that summary that porn increases the dopamine value more than sex, nicotine and morphine, so to about 200%. To compare cocaine, this host increased to 400%, though only twice less. Of course, this does not mean that a PT will be equal. This only means that there is no stable dopamine system in the organism. This has a negative effect on the ability to concentrate. In this study, the talk is about attention bias. I'll explain with the simplest words. No one says that no FAB himself develops the ability to concentrate. This is referred to as a reduction of the unstable dopamine system. So, today's include seems like a pornographic measure for healthy dopamine. Of course, I need to inform you that the other ways to normalize dopamine system are available, the same L-Dopa or tyrosine. Such nootropics is a direct precursor of dopamine. Consequently, the dopamine system will also stabilize. Subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to develop the intelligence healthy. Third, the normal sexual pleasure in normal relationship. Many men or even teenagers have the problems in this context. Of course, the talk is not about different desires, but about society in general. In this study, one speaks of a possible 50% of men under 40 years of age, of young people with erectile dysfunction. Then comes the questions, why about 12 million young adults only in USA are sick sexual without a medical reason? This study gives us an understanding of this. And look again at the same dopamine and testosterone. In psychology, this phenomenon is called psychological erectile dysfunction. The cause is often pornography, and for this reason, abstinence can help. By the way, if you have real problems, it's better to see a specialist. Now I would like to tell you about myths in this context. For example, no sexual contacts makes athletic. Often old sports people can talk about it. In this study, there is no connection between abstinence and physical performance. These results showed that sexual activity did not affect any of the 6 physical performance tests. It can have a positive effect, but this is not a day, not a week. I'll say it's a lifestyle. Though for sports, no FAB is not a doping. A few words about problems. First, the most important moment. If your father and grandfather has prostatitis, no FAB 100% is not for yours.
About their problems with erections, but they will not talk about their genital urinary pain. And it has to do with some sort of deep-seated psychosocial taboo we have about symptoms in this general area.
Secondly, this study reports of the improvements in context sperm vitality. This is important. This value increased with increasing sexual abstinence. If you do no FAB, no nut November and everything in this sense, these improvements are not for you. In contrast, 1 or 2 week of abstinence period has the improvement of the concentration of spermatozoon. Thirdly, an important memory for people who have been making no FAB for 25 years. In conventional medicine, there is such a term as sexuality. According to different statistics, about 1 to 5% of the population suffers. I think the interesting part of the video, how to start and get the result. I will give you a simple instruction that will make this task easier several times, but it's not easy, it's difficult. Point 1. The complete abandonment of media source with an erotic contact. In the modern world is not simple, but possible. On the whole, this can be compared to the fire. If there is very little coal, as a result, no fire arises. The second point, hold up your serotonin and make dopamine detox. As dopamine detox in Consequently, I already talked about it in the first point. The best active ingredient for serotonin is 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan. It's a direct precursor to the serotonin. It plays a very important role in libido. The dosage varies in this case from 100 to 300 mg daily, and the effects are noticed by everyone. By the way, you will be surprised. If you cannot control yourself, despite in the special days, you can increase dosage to 400 mg. I'll say this is maximum for 5-HTP. If you feel that using even softer remindly, then tryptophan can be a good alternative. Tryptophan has a softer effect about 3 times. Next, give the video a thumbs up. Okay, thanks, move on. The third point is for the emergency. When you start thinking about surrendering, that's sports. At the critical moment, just go running or do workout. The main task is to stop the thoughts and deal with something. That's all. Balance. The sexual sphere is individual, and in this context, each soul only here its own organism. I've mostly talked about benefits today. In short, we increase the testosterone, stabilize the dopamine system, the dopamine detox, and NoFap is a good pornographic measure against mental impotence. The important moments around themselves with it are to be helped 5-HTP in dosage of 100 to 400 mg. Renoculation of all media springs. This is not only but also Instagram and other social networks in some mass. Very important, dopamine can interfere. Though I advise you not to use nootropics at the beginning, which has something to do with dopamine, like L-Dopa, tyrosine stimulators from the line of roxadamines. Please understand, this is just your decision. If you have noticed, I almost did not express my opinion today, though only science and studies. At this moment I'm going to quiet. Thanks for the watching, subscribe to the channel to learn more about biohacking and nootropics.